graphs will be helpful to you. Now, let's do one other thing while we're here. Let's review how to move back and forth. Remember my dimes earlier? My dimes, if I have 4 of them, if I have 4 of my dimes, that means I have 40 cents. Well, the nice thing, we already talked about 40 cents, is how many cents are in a dollar? 100 cents. So that's going to be 40 over 100, or 4 over 10, or 2 over 5, and I can take my calculator. 2 divided by 5 is 0.4, which makes sense, by the way. 40 cents is also written as $0.40, right? So what we can do is we can turn that into a percent, and that is 40%. Okay, that is 40%. Now, what we can do is to do a fraction. If I know the fraction, I need to be able to turn it into a decimal. I need to turn it into a decimal. To do that, I simply take top divided by bottom, and that gives me a decimal. Now, I need to go from fraction to decimal to percentage. Now, to get to percentage, I take my decimal and I move it 1, 2 spots. So now I have a percentage. Now, by the way, to get to a percentage back to a fraction, you can actually get all the way back there. To get to a percentage all the way back to a fraction, all you need to do is take your percentage and divide it by 100. So a percentage divided by 100 gives you this. So if I have 1/7, to change it to a decimal, I take top divided by bottom, 1 divided by 7, and I get 0.1428. To change that into a percentage, I take 0.1428, but I move the decimal 2 spots, 14.28%. Now, if I want to take that and I want to turn it back into a fraction, this is where it gets a little weird. I'm going to take 14% and I'm going to divide it by 100. And if I take 14 divided by 100, 14 divided by 100, that gives me 0.14. And if I turn that back into a fraction, it's going to turn into 1/7. Now, the other thing to remember here is that this is read percent. Well, there are 100 cents in a dollar, so it really means per 100. Just like a century is 1 year, percent means per 100. So if I have, say, 37%, I really have 37 over 100. And I could even change 37 over 100 into a decimal, and that makes 0.37. And if I move the decimal 2 spots, it will take me exactly back to 37%. So I can move between fractions, decimals, and percents all over. I've written it as a line. It really looks like this. It really looks like a circle where you have fraction, and that fraction can turn into a decimal, and that decimal can turn into a percent. Or I could take a percent and I could turn it into a decimal and turn it into a fraction, or a fraction to a percent to a decimal, or a decimal to a percent to a fraction, or a decimal to a fraction to a percent. I could go all the way around the circle no matter which way I want to go using fractions, decimals, and percents. All right, take a look at that.